Riding motorcycles is pretty risky, there's no doubt about it. When we get insurance, we're generally getting grouped in the same risk pool as other people with much lower risk profiles, which means it's generally a pretty good deal for us. Recently, I've been looking into different options for rescue and evacuation benefits, and three names came up consistently. First is the Garmin SAR policy. That's the one you can buy with your inReach. Second is Medjet, and finally, Global Rescue. I talked to people at all three companies and did some research, and here's what I learned. First up, at $39 a year, is the Garmin SAR insurance. The Garmin SAR covers the difference between what your health insurance covers and the actual cost of your evacuation. So for example, in 2023, when my buddy Chad crashed, he got a $65,000 bill for the helicopter. His health insurance paid half, and that other 32 grand, that would have been on him if he hadn't had that policy. But instead, Garmin stepped in and paid it. For me, the Garmin policy is an easy yes. It's relatively cheap, it works everywhere, and it means I'll never waffle on whether to hit the SOS button or not based on cost. It's important to note though, that the Garmin SAR policy only covers the field rescue portion and doesn't cover anything after that. Next up is Medjet. Let's say I'm riding somewhere in rural Africa, I have a crash, and I wake up at the local hospital. I'm in a lot of pain, it's crowded, there's no air conditioning, and the doctor says I need surgery. I'd rather not do the surgery there, I'd rather do it at home, but I can't exactly fly home in a stretcher, so the only way to get back is in a specialized medical jet, and there's really no version of that that's going to be cheap. I got flown home from Honduras once in one of those jets, and the bill was over $100,000. For $315 a year, Medjet will take care of that. They'll find the plane, and they'll pay the bill. When my buddy Paul crashed in the Dakar, they flew him home with a broken pelvis and a broken back, and in his words, they saved his life. And then finally, we have Global Rescue. Global Rescue takes the services offered by Medjet and by Garmin and combines them under a single roof. So they'll get you from the crash site to the local hospital and then the local hospital home. They specialize in tricky extractions. For example, when a bunch of mountain climbers get stuck on the side of a mountain in Nepal, or a paraglider crashes somewhere remote and needs help. At $375 a year, the cost is really comparable to Garmin SAR plus Medjet, but for me personally, I would still need Garmin SAR because Global Rescue only applies outside of a 100-mile radius of home, and also I can't just use the SOS button on my inReach because that would go to Garmin. If I want to initiate a rescue through Global Rescue, I have to send a direct message to them instead, and that's one more thing to remember after a crash. It requires my phone to be undamaged, accessible, and still Bluetooth paired to my inReach. Do you have any experience with any of these three companies? If so, I'd love to hear it. Please share your story in the comments. I'm Pete with Mosko Moto, and thanks for watching.